the most underrated senior in the state, and I still believe that. And, I think he's the best player in the city, and he does a great job for us and kind of the kingpin for us and gets everything going.
I know a couple weeks on against Broken Arrow, went a couple of overtimes at home. I guess you're not hoping for that kind of finish tonight.
No, it was a great ball game. Hopefully we won't have quite that much suspense, but that was a great game, and looking forward to another one tonight.
I know Kyle Tucker and Rodney, they like to go to for Sapulpa.
Yeah, I know that Tucker's their go-to guy, and he's averaging, I think, about 19 a game and things, so we're going to have to focus on stopping him. Brown inside, he does some things for him. He's athletic, so those two we're going to have to slow down if we're going to have
All right, Coach Garcia, good luck tonight. The Union head coach, Rudy Garcia, now Mark Tucker, we turn to him. Obviously a team in Union that has had a lot of season, 18-2.
Yeah, they are. They're very well coached. They're solid on both ends of the floor. We're really to have an opportunity to have some success.
Does it help senior night to have a big crowd out here tonight? Does that obviously...
Well, I think anytime you have, people in the stands, it motivates your kids and help them, to some degree. And
What about Alan Daniels? He's a kid that you've seen, I know, on film and seen what he can do. He seems like he can touch and turn and shoot up the floor.
He's a heck of a player. He plays on both ends of the floor. And, he's a kid that doesn't play in spurts. That's what most high school kids do, and he's very effective for them, and he's a handful for anybody.
What's the big key for you guys? You want to slow it down and have a lower scoring game, or run and gun? How do you feel like your best chance is?
No, we really need to try to extend, get the pace of the game where we, can be there possibly, and that type of thing. Transition's got to be solid. Then we've got to take good shots and then limit their possessions. Those are just a few keys.
All right, Coach Tucker, good luck tonight. Mark Tucker, the head coach of the Sapulpa Chieftains, his team taking on Union. In about 45 minutes.
And welcome to the new Sapulpa Fieldhouse as Cox Communications is in Creek County tonight. Fort of Tulsa presents the game of the week between the Union Redskins, state ranked at 18-2, against the Chieftains trying to pull the upset. They are 6-15 on the season. Hello again, Don King, along with J.V. Haney. Boy, this could be an interesting turn of events, just like what we saw in the first game.
But you look at the ramifications of this game, Don, and Mark Tucker used to coach at Union High School, an outstanding player here at Sapulpa High School. Union coming over, ranked number 2 in the state in Class 6A. Mark Tucker having a difficult time over here in his first year, but who knows, down toward the end of the season, senior night could be an upset.
Could be indeed. When you look at the 6A rankings this year, indeed, Union is right there at the top after Midwest City had dominated 6A throughout the season and lost some players recently to a disturbance. The thing has really flip-flopped with Putnam now at 1, Union, Broken Arrow, Tulsa Memorial. This is according to the Tulsa World.
Well, and the Tulsa World has 3 of the Eastern teams right up there in the top 5. Actually, you could say Stillwater was an Eastern team because they play in the Frontier Conference. So there's 4 out of the top 5, and going to be some great regional play and some great area play on this side of the state in Class 6.
3 out of the top 5, 5 out of the top 10 out of this Frontier Conference. When you look at the Frontier Conference and you look at Union, number 2 in the state, and they are undefeated in this league, you look at Alan Daniels.
Alan Daniels, number 21, and we talk about this, use this terminology, total package. He can dribble, he can shoot, he can post up, he can shoot the 3, he can rebound, he brings the ball up against the press. You ask him to do it, he does it, and I think that Coach Garcia had a good statement to Mike Wolf. He probably is the most underrated senior on this side of the state and certainly will play at the next level.
He is leading the conference in scoring, and this young man isn't far behind 3rd in the conference in scoring.
Kyle Tucker, only a 6'4" junior guard, and he can do it outside, he can do it inside, he can penetrate, he can dish off. An excellent shooter, averaging about 18 points a game, and he's got another year ahead of him, so you can see there as he shoots the basketball, good fundamental shot.
If Sapulpa wins tonight, they will match last season's victory total of 7. So we've got the starting lineups, the opening tip-off, and something rather certainly hopes that you enjoyed that and get ready for the playoffs and all the way to the state championship games, which will be played on Saturday, March 9th for 5A and 6A boys and girls at Gallagher-Iba in Stillwater, and we will be there, along with our technical director, Joe Day. Robin Craven's in the truck adding the numbers on the screen that you see. Cameraman Andy Irwin, a great Putnam City Pirate. He's rooting for the Pirates to go all the way. Steve Beeson, Dave Davies, Dan Penner, Terry Smith audio. Videotape replays by Jerry Hayes. Jimmy Sweden, our timeout coordinator. Bigsby Spartan himself. Sean Moran doing the stats. Susan Lehman, our coordinating producer, and of course, our producer in the truck, Randy Carson, that directs the show, along with J.B. Haney, Don King. And we again thank Mike Davis for that. It is always fun, isn't it, JB, when you get to this time of year?
It really is, Don. You know, you look back, and if you're a coach and a player, you look at some things you wish you had done, but yet there's still enough time to, if you're not happy, to redeem yourself. And it's just a great time of the year, not only in high school, but in college as well. And for sports fans and for those who like basketball, man, your plate's full from now on.
For those that might not know, JV in the Oklahoma Coaches Hall of Fame and past president of the OCA. Did you ever have a team that maybe didn't live up to expectations until you got to the playoffs?
Yes. Yeah, we took several teams to the state that, of course, we kept talking to the kids and saying we were going to make it. But sometimes I didn't think we would, and we did. And then I had some teams that I thought should have and didn't. So that's what makes the playoff system so great. You just can't figure it out.
Starting lineups are being introduced right now, and there's Alan Daniels. We'll see a lot of him. He had 41 in the triple overtime win over Broken Arrow here on Cox a couple of weeks ago. And boy, you look at the teams, and that's certainly a lot of fun, as we've done the last 3 months in Oklahoma City on Friday nights and Tulsa on Tuesday nights. But it's just as much fun to look at the great individual efforts like Kalina Azubuike last week, Alan Daniels a couple of weeks ago, the great talent that Broken Arrow has featured. Well, this Sapulpa team has some talent. They are very young, much like their girls team. Rodney Brown will be a force inside for Sapulpa tonight at 6'2", junior. And Kyle Tucker, we highlighted him, 18 points a game. Josh Bilby, 6' junior. And David Salmons, a 5'10" junior, gets introduced. This again is parent night as you take a look at the Union starting five. Clint Stewart, Jarvis Chapman, Alan Daniels, John Tarbell, and Kirk Helm, two players inside that work very well for Union. They're a couple of guys that really don't get a lot of pub as they average 6 points each, but without those two, Union wouldn't be 18-2 right now. There's the look at the Sapulpa five. There you see 4 juniors and a sophomore. So they, like the girls team, not starting any seniors. JB?
And meaning they'll be tough when they come back next year. And, you know, you take a look at Union, I think one of Coach Rudy Garcia's greatest assets is his depth. He's got a lot of depth that he can pull on during the course of a game. And, of course, the youth of Sapulpa. But it's at home, and senior night, you just can't discount anything.
Rudy Garcia, now Mark Tucker. In fact, if I remember right, when Tucker was the head coach at Union, Rudy was the baseball coach for the Redskins.
I think you're right, Don.
Out front, Levi Laughlin. Far corner, Kyle Tucker. Laughlin inside, kicked out to David Salmons.
Man defense by Union, and Sapulpa really spreading it out.
But they got the inside move by Tucker, off balance, but had enough to score.
Good offensive set that time. They worked it very patient. Tucker cut off the far side screen, got open, and he's got that great touch to get it in.
Clint Stewart out to Daniels. Stewart is a point guard that is only a sophomore. He too will be heard from. He'll probably pick up some of the scoring slack that they'll lose with Daniels next season. And Jarvis Chapman getting the start tonight, usually off the bench. There's one of the forwards I was talking about that does some yeoman work inside. Kirk Helm going to the line.
And Kirk Helm really getting good position there and getting the offensive rebound. And there's one thing that's important. If you can get offensive rebounds and stickbacks, or if you get an offensive rebound, draw a foul, but turn an offensive rebound into points, that gives you a great advantage.
1 of 3 to start every game for Union this season. Kirk Helm. Union, they were in the Tournament of Champions. They beat New Lima, lost to Booker T. Washington by 2 after they had them down 15-2 after 1 quarter. They then beat Yale for 3rd place in the Tournament of Champions. They went to the Norman tournament at the end of January, a couple of weeks ago, beat Westmore by 10, lost to Ardmore by 7. Stewart for 3. Nope. Daniels gets it. He tries the 3 ball. And then they beat McAllister for 3rd place in that Norman tournament. Timeout, Sapulpa, as the Redskins have scored a free throw and a 3-pointer in the same possession. Let's go back over to Mike.
Yeah, one of those long rebounds, guys, right out to Daniels, and you don't want to give him an open look. We've seen what he can do all season. Knocks down the triple, gives them a 2-point lead early on, and they've got that full court press they're trying to run on Sapulpa. Got an early turnover to get it on the offensive end.
And who caused that turnover? It was Alan Daniels right here at midcourt. He's got a lot of quickness, and the turnover eventually coming back to him, as Mike said, to get him a basket.
We saw Union beat BA back on January 22nd in triple overtime. That was a game that Union was down 23-9 after 1 quarter. They also played Bartlesville, a pretty good team that's state ranked, as you saw earlier, ranked number 10, and there's another backcourt turnover. They beat them in double overtime up north. Tim Bart's club doing very well. Does that help? Would that help a team, JB, to win a couple of big overtime games like that going into this late season?
I tell you, anytime you win an overtime game, it gives your kids confidence that they can win it. And a lot of teams go into an overtime and just not thinking they can. There's Daniels again, and he's just uncanny from 3 points.
You can tell he's really in a zone. Union leading by 5 now.
And Rudy Garcia here, you know, he's got a veteran ball club, and he might think that the press and it's working good, just get out and put it away early.
Laughlin couldn't get it. Levi got robbed, and Daniels with the rebound. Sapulpa would hope that they could just hang in this first quarter as Daniels flat lines another.
You know, he does shoot an extremely flat shot, but it hits nothing but cotton.
9 points early. That one goes. Rodney Brown, he can play with any of them. He stops the 10-point run by Union. Inside, and Tarbell loses it. Had it knocked away. In the previous meeting at Union, December 18th, Union led 27-11 after 1 quarter. This is a Union team, JB, that, as you know, they put it on you and put it on you in a hurry.
Well, they got such great scoring power, so they're so explosive, and all of them scoring. And with Daniels hitting them all over the floor, they can put points up.
They are averaging 73 a game, which leads the league, and Rodney Brown up the other end for Sapulpa, averaging 10 a game. 12-6 Union.
Sapulpa now in a 2-3 zone.
Helm off to Daniels. If you don't guard him, he'll pop it. He doesn't care where he is on the floor. He has that kind of confidence.
That's right, and it doesn't make much difference where he is. He can hit it from anywhere.
Brown feeling it. Helm rebound to Stewart. Stewart skies, stops, elevates, and celebrates.
Clint Stewart's certainly a good sophomore coming up for the Redskins.
Daniels. Well, that was pretty. You can see, can't you, why he is the conference's leading scorer. He's halfway there now. He's got 11. Let's go back over to Mike Wolf.
Thanks, Don. I know the folks out there remember earlier this season when Antonio Reed hit a key bucket down in Ruston, Louisiana to lift the Golden Hurricane over the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Well, Saturday night's the rematch at the Reynolds Center, and a must-win for both teams. Tulsa, of course, tied for first place in the WAC. Tip-off is set for 7. You don't want to miss a minute of the action. You can see it live on Channel 9 in Tulsa and Channel 3 in Oklahoma City, guys.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to that game. Brian Riley will join me courtside. That is a big game in the Western Athletic Conference. Tulsa and Hawaii tied for first, and La Tech right behind them.
And La Tech has some great athletes with great athletic ability. And it'll be a great, just be a great ball game.
Sure will. Two big games for TU. Thursday against SMU on Fox Sports Thursday night, and then Cox Communications with the Saturday night game. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma Bedlam tomorrow. So this is a huge week of basketball in the state of Oklahoma. Winding down the regular season in prep action. Great save by Chapman, and he gets it back somehow. He was in the middle of all of that mayhem. Clint Stewart, left hand follow. This is a Union team, JB, that averages 17 points in the first quarter this season. Midway through the first period here, they're at 18. So you're right. They can score and score in a hurry.
And they jump out real quick on you in the first quarter and more or less kind of set the pace and issue a statement of what's going to happen.
You are a good point there. They control the tempo of the game. 20-6, and they are on an 8-0 run. And Daniels with 13 points.
And their pressure is really just devastating the young Sapulpa team. And when you've got the quickness and the ability that Union has, you certainly can do that early in a game.
Number 20, Bronson Thone, a 5'9" sophomore, checks in for the Chieftains. That's him at the top on the defense for the Chieftains. One thing about punishing a young team like this, they don't forget these things a couple of years later, do they?
No, they don't. And they grow from it.
You bet. Clint Stewart with a 3, his 25th of the season. Rodney Brown trying to work something inside, and he got fouled by Chapman, number 5 of Union. Let's go over to Mike.
Yeah, Don, you mentioned just a minute ago that game back on January 22nd at Union with the triple overtime game. The Redskins came back from 20 down in that game because Rudy Garcia loves to force the tempo, and that's what his Redskins have done here so far tonight, and that's why they're up by 17 just 4.5 minutes into the first quarter.
Brown struggling at the free throw line this year at 42%. And misses the first one for number 14 in Jared Cable, 6'2" junior guard forward. Fifth point for Brown tonight, 23-7. And the foul on Brown out front. Well, JB and I have certainly talked about our impressions this year on the teams and the players. I'd like to get Mike Wolf's thoughts on some of the teams he's seen this year in the eastern side of the state. Who do you think Mike's going to get there come state tournament time? Got any ideas?
Well, Don, I tell you what, Union's really impressed me the way they play both ends of the court. Certainly Alan Daniels, one of the great players in the state of Oklahoma. You also can't count out Broken Arrow, Chris Rouse and Chris Wallace. Of course, Wallace is committed to play for the Golden Hurricane. They can light it up on any night. Those are two teams that I've seen consistently play pretty good basketball. And then, of course, Jinx can play. You've got so many teams across the area that on any given night can play pretty good basketball.
I would agree with you. Jinx is getting hot. Kind of a similar situation where they were last year. Pretty decent record, not getting a lot of recognition. Then all of a sudden they got hot. Bang, there they were. The 6A regionals on this side of the state will be hosted by Broken Arrow, Union, East Central, and Bartlesville. That's a deuce, and it goes for Kyle Tucker, who has his second basket. He's got 4 of their 9 points.
Sapulpa dropped into a 1-3-1 zone now, kind of switching it up, give them a little different look.
Foul called here on number 10 of Union, Brandon Wilbanks. Or rather, Sapulpa's number 10, I beg your pardon, David Sammons.
The shot Kyle Tucker put up. You don't see many kids use that backboard like that.
You don't?
No, we used to teach it. I think it's I think you have a much better opportunity to put it off the glass on the wing like that, especially when you're from about 14, 15 foot out.
There used to be a guy that played for the Red Sox, for the Boston Celtics. Sam Jones, remember he could shoot him from beyond the arc. Of course, they didn't have the arc in those days, but he'd shoot him off the glass from 20, 22 feet out.
Well, there used to be a great basketball coach out in California that coached at that little school, UCLA, that won several national championships. He taught that religiously, of course, talking about John Wooden.
25-9, Union with the big lead, and look at Brown hustle that just stepped on the inline. Mike?
Yeah, Don, left out Memorial. We got a little 6A heavy there, left out the Memorial Chargers, also a pretty good basketball team. And in 5A, you can't talk about 5A basketball in this state without talking about the Booker T. Washington Hornets, undefeated up to this point in the season, coming off a state championship.
And you're talking about 5A, Mike. You really don't want to discount Terry Scott's Central Braves, even though they've lost 7 games, ranked 8th in the state. They can play with the best of them as well. It's going to be a great 5A tournament.
Sure is. I'm looking forward to it, and all gets underway with the girls next Thursday, the 21st. The boys play their regionals the Friday, the 22nd. The regional championship Saturday, the 23rd, and then the area tournament the next week. And then the state tournament, which will be kind of crazy this season because the first and second rounds of the state tournament will be all over the shop. But the finals for 5A and 6A boys and girls will be held at Gallagher-Iba in Stillwater. Alan Daniels with a big first quarter here as we wind it down, and a big first quarter for the Redskins overall. Clint Stewart lights the scoreboard. He's got 2 threes in this period and 10 points in the quarter. It's 28-9.
You know, just a sophomore averaging 12 points a game, having a great year.
Rodney Brown doing his work at the free throw line. He has 7 of the Sapulpa 11 points. At halftime, we'll take a look at the Ping Pings, the Sapulpa dance team, although we're a quarter away from that. That one's a little too far out for Alan Daniels. Nevertheless, the first quarter is all Union. Now you see why they're number 2 in the state. Port of Tulsa presents the game of the week on Cox.
Communications Channel 3, Oklahoma City, Channel 9, Tulsa. Local, like no one else.
That Union will feature Mustang against Tahlequah at 6:30. That Tahlequah team has gone unheralded, but they lead the Metro Lakes Conference 9-1 in league play. And then Choctaw makes its way to the eastern part of the state to take on this number 2 ranked Redskins in the regionals a week from Friday. Second quarter underway, and Union leading 28-11. Alan Daniels with 13 first quarter points. He outscored Sapulpa by himself. Clint Stewart wasn't far behind with 10, and 5 points for Kirk Helm. Chieftains are led by their top 2 scorers, Rodney Brown 7, Kyle Tucker 4. 4th team foul called on Sapulpa. Union with 1 team foul. Inside Cable. Pass to Stewart, out to Chapman. Boy, he's been a spark plug for this team off the bench, Jarvis Chapman. Stewart can shoot out there with anybody. Not this time, and Tucker. Nice pass. Oh, just off the fingertips of Rodney Brown. Well, this is the new gym, but when Mark Tucker played, they played in the old gym next door in the Sapulpa High School building. Boy, you couldn't wedge a person in that field house when he came out for his pregame routine.
No, and
it was fun.
And the legendary Ray Rhymes is the coach. What a great combination that was, and what an entertaining combination that was. Mark Tucker and Ray Rhymes.
Ray Rhymes coming out in his tuxedos, throwing the J.B. Haney towel on the floor. And he threw yours up in the air. Ray would throw his on the floor.
And Ray would come out the next night. He would come out in a pair of overalls. So you never knew how he was going to be dressed.
Been doing some farming on Saturday.
But I tell you one thing about the Ray Ryan's coach Sapulpa team, you better be ready to play when you met them, because they were always ready.
Ray, of course, played at OSU for Henry Iba, and you're right, boy. When you got off the bus, you were in for it. Clint Stewart with another three-pointer. He's got 3 in the game, and Union by 20. You've got to feel sorry for the young Sapulpa team. I mean, it's sometimes for Mark Tucker, it's like.
Well, you made a great statement a while ago, though, Don. They will remember this.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that, that Union should take it easy on them or anything of this nature. You come out and play your game and play what you have planned on doing, but they will grow and get better as a result of it.
And that brings up a good point. Rodney Brown with the basket. JB, if you are easy on him, or you call off the dog, so to speak, traveling here called on Wilbanks, that doesn't make Sapulpa any better.
No, it doesn't. And there's a lot of philosophies on when you have a team outclassed on whether you take it easy. Basically, you should just play your game and let the chips fall where they fall.
This is a Sapulpa team that, believe it or not, is playing much better despite their 6-15 record. And they, again, are playing the number 2 team in the state here. Although they've lost 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 6, there was a time when they went 4-2 in a stretch here at the end of January and the first part of February. Went to the Sand Springs tournament, knocked off a very good Webster team by 5, beat Edison by 3, lost to Sand Springs out of their same conference by 3. Follow shot good for Jared Cable, his first 2. Lead back up to 20. But they lost their first 6 games of the year. Chasing it down, Chapman. Nice pass inside. Bryce Flynn with his first 2.
Bryce Flynn running the floor hard. You do that, you'll pick up some easy baskets. Little 1-3-1 trap here that the Redskins are using.
David Salmons did a nice job of not traveling. And the three-pointer no good. Blocked. Here comes the Union again. 2-on-2. Kick to Chapman. Off no blocking foul called on Tucker. That'll be his first. Always fun to come to Sapulpa and eat the barbecue. Our thanks to Hickory House for the great barbecue here in Sapulpa before the game. And Steve Shibley, the athletic director, supplying the hospitality. This is a great new arena for those school systems that are going to be building arenas. I know Pryor, I was up there Saturday, they're building a new arena. Boy, you need to come look at this one because it is well designed, well done.
And Benny Dixon out at Union High School, they're constructing a new arena as well that's going to seat, what, about 5, maybe 6,000. A lot of great facilities now in the metropolitan area. You talk about the barbecue, Don. I will attest to that. You do like it.
Don't give up my secrets. Oh, there's a steal, yet a foul as well. Dwight Holdman on the far side says the personal on Jarvis Chapman. That'll be his second. Let's take a look and see if you agree with the official's call.
Well, they got a good trap in there, and you know, it's just really hard to tell there when you get the real good trap. Why, you can bump a little bit.
Grazed him with the arm, I would say. Union undefeated in league play at 14-0. Sapulpa gets the basket from Tucker. He's got a half dozen. I don't know, JB, we were talking about this earlier as we hit the midway part of the second quarter. I don't know if a team has ever gone through the Frontier Conference undefeated.
Well, we were talking about that back in the early 90s when Bartlesville was so tough. Maybe they did it, but normally the conference is just too strong for a team to go through it undefeated.
24-point lead for Union. Let's go over to Mike Wolf.
Yeah, guys, we've run down the talent on the east side of the state. We're going to go west on Friday night. Join Steve Marshall, Mick Cornett, and Matt Clark when the Norman Tigers meet the Bombers of Midwest City. Live coverage begins at 6:30 on Cox 3 in Oklahoma City and Cox 9 in Tulsa.
Thank you, Mike. And I slided the two girls programs a little bit when we did that promo last time. Both of those girls teams are state ranked. We mentioned Union hosting the regional next week in their home court. Well, Sapulpa will be in Stillwater next week. Ponca City takes on Bartlesville at 6:30, and Sapulpa at Stillwater. Again, all four teams from the same Frontier Conference. This is a 9-team conference. And next year, Muskogee will be added to this conference. Basket by Levi Laughlin. The sophomore gets his first two. He gets the start tonight. 17 on the board for Sapulpa. Chapman shows off his moves inside.
Another good underclassman, Jarvis Chapman, only a junior. And if you notice that time, Alan Daniels was actually the point guard. He initiated the offense from the point.
Tucker, nice down, up and under move. Daniels called for the foul. That'll be, I believe, his first. Mark Tucker at Sapulpa, trying to rejuvenate a program. They went 7-16 a year ago. Tom Willick, the predecessor, is now in Texas, coaching a new Texas team that just started a high school program down there. Tucker with 8 points. He has 8 of their 19. Rodney Brown has 9 as well. Nice basket by Cable. Jared Cable started a few games this year, was out with an injury, and then came back and really sparked this team to a win recently. Did Cable a win over Jinx, I believe it was. This is a Union team, JB. And third foul, by the way, called on Chapman. This is the, let's see here, 7th straight game that, well, I guess the 6th straight game that Union will probably have no troubles. When you get in to the late season and you run away with some games, and let's say you haven't really had a tight contest till January, into January, does that hurt you any going into the playoffs?
Well, I think it depends upon the personality of the team, Don. I think most coaches like to play pretty tough games. You know, you like to win, but you don't like to just have the blowouts, other than the fact that you're allowed to play some kids that don't get to play as much when you're playing the tougher competition. So, you know, it's just kind of depends on the coach and depends on the personality of the team that you're coaching. Basically, I always like to play good games. I thought it was a lot better when you could play tough games and win, because your kids would constantly improve.
That rainbow won't go, and look out. Sapulpa gets the rebound from Salmons, and then he gets poked in the eye. Well, the Sapulpa team, rather young, and they show it by going 1-7 on the road this year. It is a team that has no seniors on the roster. They start 4 juniors and a sophomore. I can remember a sophomore team that was very young like this several seasons back. Tom Willick had them. They went to Jinx to a regional and ended up winning the regional. And after that, that Sapulpa program took off. I think Tom took them to the state semifinals in back-to-back seasons.
I think that was like the year after, or maybe 2 years after, Ray Rhines retired and stepped aside, and that was a kind of a miracle team that really came along toward the end of the season. But they've had so many great players here at Sapulpa over the years.
Tucker collects his 9th point. Kyle with a season-high 31 earlier this year. He's been in their leading scorer in 8 straight games. 43-22, down to the final 2 minutes of the first half. Union, winners of 4 in a row, 11 of their last 12. The pick by Brown. This is also a Sapulpa team, it must be noted, that misses a couple of football players. Darian Davis was a highlight reel inside for Sapulpa. They missed some muscle inside by missing him. And Brett Nightingale is a very good athlete, quarterback on the football team, tore up his knee and not able to play basketball this season. And so they really miss a couple of starters.
Well, if you're not just exceptionally deep, when you lose a couple of good players, it definitely is a handicap for the club. And when you're young, it makes it even more so.
Nightingale will be able to return next year, hopefully. Nice strong rebound. Laughlin. Levi Laughlin gets Sapulpa under the 20-point deficit. They're down to 19 now.
And Laughlin, only a sophomore, certainly had great awareness where he was on the court then.
Daniels, three-pointer, no. He was almost out of bounds. They've hit, let's see, 6 threes in this game. Stewart has 3, Daniels likewise with 3. On the season, that's 122 threes for Union in 21 games. 122 in 21 games. That's 6 a game, and they're there already here in the first half. There are college teams, JB, that play 8 extra minutes a game and can't get 6 threes a game. Most colleges can't.
That's true, but most colleges don't have an Alan Daniels.
Or Clint Stewart.
Yes.
Nice feed on the no-look pass, and inside Kellen James for the basket. His first 2.
I think, Don, the players were waiting for a whistle with them all on the floor that time.
Tucker gets to the baseline, and the offside rebound by James. Down to the final 5 seconds. Stewart. And a man inside, kicks to Daniels outside. And we are done with the first half. Union averaging 73 points a game, one of the state leaders in that department. And they put 45 on the board here at halftime. Coming back in a moment on the Fort of Tulsa.
You're
24 as they will host a regional next week, and they are certainly off where they left off when we saw them a couple of weeks ago at home against Broken Arrow.
Well, I tell you what, though, they are so explosive, Don. They've got so much firepower that I think you'd have to say they're going to contend for a state championship.
Yeah, I would agree with it. We take a look at the first half numbers, and you can see, or actually the first half highlights, I beg your pardon. You can see why they jumped out early on Sapulpa.
Well, that's Kyle Tucker getting an inside basket off of a spread offense that opened up with Sapulpa offense, and then it just goes outside, and there's Alan Daniels. I mean, he's shooting them down. He's making passes across to his teammate Clint Stewart, who pops a 3, and those two have just been burning the net up. And once again, another young man, Rodney Brown, coming through, number 44, a junior for Sapulpa. Nice cross-court pass, and here's a great drive, and he hung it up there on the glass and got it in. That was Rodney Brown from Sapulpa. Another good move, a great pass in there by Tucker to Brown, and Brown gets him another basket. Penetration there by Union's Bryce Flynn gets an easy basket. Go back outside. Clint Stewart puts it up, doesn't get it down, but immediately there it looked like it was Kelly James that put it back in. 57% for Union, 50. That's good shooting, Don, on both sides of the court. 3-point shooting, 7 out of 16. That's exceptional. But Sapulpa only getting 1 shot. They can't keep pace like that. Free throws, both teams doing a good job, rebounding about even. Turnovers, that press in the first quarter really cost Sapulpa, and they turned it over 10 times. That's a +6.
Alan Daniels, the league's leading scorer at 23, is more than halfway there. Clint Stewart has already met his average. He's at 13, and Jared Cable off the bench with a half dozen. Kyle Tucker, you can see why he's the 3rd leading scorer in the conference. He's got 10. Rodney Brown with a solid first half, and Levi Laughlin getting the start, and he has 4 in the first half. So there are your scoring leaders. There are the numbers and the highlights. Coming back, second half, straight ahead on Cox Communications.
You're
Debbie Haney, I'm Don King. Fort of Tulsa game of the week. We'll get and got fouled at the end line by number 33 of Union, Kirk Helm.
You know, when you look at the numbers on the first half again, why Union was just outscored Sapulpa by 4 points in the second quarter. So that was a pretty good second quarter for Sapulpa, considering the first.
Of course, Sapulpa wanting to continue with their athletic progress of what they did on the football team. A football team under first-year coach Mark Walker in 2000 that went 0-10. In 2001, this past fall, they turned it around and made the state playoffs. They were hoping to continue that, but again, injuries have really hurt this team and their youth. But Kyle Tucker lights it up. He's got a dozen to lead the Chieftains, and they have again pulled to under 20. They pulled to within 19.
Both teams coming back in a zone defense in the second half. Union was in a 2-3, and Sapulpa was in a 1-3-1.
Nice pass inside. Tarbell got the garbage after he misses the shot inside, and Union will try again.
John Tarbell, only a sophomore. A lot of young kids getting some playing time tonight.
Union would love to win this game, to go 19-2, and then play at Stillwater to go 20-2 in the regular season. Last year, they went 22-5, making it to the state tournament. Pass down court to Brown in the corner. Inside, Tucker posts up and goes to the line. Does Kyle remind you of his dad, Mark Tucker, JB, when Mark played?
Yes, he has a lot of the same characteristics, but the most important thing, he's got a very soft touch on the basketball. Now, that was a great play then. He got down there low and got posted up. His teammate Brown gave him the ball, and he was able to get the shot and draw the foul, and almost was maybe able to get a three out of it.
I mentioned he had a season-high 31. That was against Union in the previous meeting. Tonight, he's 6 of 6 from the line and 14 points. Down to a 17-point game. Minute and a half gone. Third quarter. Daniels had 13 in the first quarter and has not scored since, and Brown pulls down another rebound. Off to Salmons, the junior point guard. Sapulpa 3-12 in league play, just behind Ponca City at 3-11, and then Owasso 3-11. Sand Springs 4-10.
And Sapulpa really spreading it out, maybe killing a little clock, also trying to keep the middle open. There, Tucker flashes.
Gets some room again inside, and again, Tarbell and Helm pin him in, and Tarbell commits the foul, his third.
It's pretty tough to stop you from getting position. If you really get the floor spread and you come in from the weak side like Kyle did, then you can get in on that block, get your position, and get a pass as well.
It's all about footwork when you get down there and get some position.
And timing and getting there and judging just exactly when to go and when to get the pass as well.
Tucker is a perfect 8 of 8 to account for half of his 16 points. He scored all 6 points here in the third quarter. It is now respectable 45-30, and Brown almost got the theft. There's the kick to Chapman for the three. Rebound Daniels, he'll follow it up. Pretty. Well, Alan Daniels hasn't gotten the publicity that Azubuike, Sheldon Williams, D'Angelo Alexander, but he'll be playing at another level.
Oh, he will play at another level, and what a great soft touch he has.
Rebound Stewart. Down court Daniels. Cut off by Tucker.
He has the ability as well, talking about Alan Daniels, to shoot the ball right over a defender as though he were not there. He's so concentrated on the rim that he certainly doesn't see a defense.
Helm had the baseline shot. Follow won't go. And that is something that high school players, JB, quite frankly, probably have harder time than anything, and that's shooting over a defender.
Really, and even though the defender may not be just right on him, if he's got his hand up or if he comes hard at him, sometimes it just really detracts the shot. But that doesn't happen with Alan Williams, and obviously doesn't happen to Clint Stewart because a defender went right by him that time with his hand up.
Well, Clint Stewart had 5 points in the previous game. Tonight, he's got 16. And just when Sapulpa closed it to 15, they're back down by 20.
And Sapulpa coming back out in that, or Union rather, in that very aggressive defense against Sapulpa. And creating just a little more of a problem of them setting up their spread offense.
Sapulpa team mentioned Union has played a couple of overtimes, double overtime win over Bartlesville, triple overtime win a couple of weeks ago here on Cox against BA. Sapulpa lost their second game of the year at Sand Springs in overtime by 4 points. Nice ball movement. Rebound to Laughlin. He gets it down to Brown. Rodney slices inside. Nice job by the junior, who's got 11 points, and now for the 4th straight game is in double figures.
And that was a great movement there by Rodney Brown.
Sapulpa lost at Jinx by 7. Rebound Chapman out to Helm. Inside, nice pass from Kirk Helm into Alan Daniels. That's his first basket since the first quarter. He leads all scorers for Union with 17. Tucker has 16 for the Chieftains, and a timeout called. Let's go over to Mike Wolf.
Yeah, guys, still a 20-point game with 3:43 to go in the third quarter. I thought that Sapulpa's getting a lot better looks here so far in the third quarter. Rodney Brown just gets a layup on the other end, but you just saw a nice pass there from Kirk Helm down to his teammate Alan Daniels. Unselfish play on the part of the Redskins, being very patient, slowing it down here in the third quarter, but when you got a 20-point lead, you can certainly do that, guys.
Thank you very much, Mike. You're right on. Take a look at some of the 5A pairings as we get into the playoffs next week. These games again, boys in the eastern side of the state at Washington. I agree with Mike Wolf. This Booker T. Washington team undefeated on the year, and they've had a great year. Kelly against Tulsa School of Science and Technology, and the winner of that game will then play Saturday night against the winner of the Edison Washington game. Then you have Catoosa against Claremore, Bigsby against Central. Central out of the Green Country Conference, a prohibitive favorite in that one, although Claremore could make some noise in that regional. Nice pass from Bronson Thone into Brown, and a foul called on Alan Daniels. His second.
Well, Rodney Brown was really going to slam this. You see him, he's got the alley open. He goes up, and right there, he got hacked right below the wrist, and that threw the slam off.
So he goes to the line where he's 1 of 2.
Talking about the Washington Hornets, Nate Harris recently won his 300th game in what,
at
17
Washington,
at Washington in 17 years. I think it is, as a head coach. What a great record that is.
Coached at Mason after that, which is no longer in existence. Now Metro Christian in the Tulsa area, a private school. He coached there before, JB. He's got over 400 wins as a head coach.
Well, he was at Mason, then he went to Edison High School.
That's right, he did. He followed you at Edison, didn't he?
No, he followed
Mike Pounds.
I think he followed Mike Pounds.
Yeah. And then John Phillips, I think, followed Nate. Pretty good tradition right there at Edison.
Yes,
you, Mike Pounds, Nate Harris, and John Phillips. Ah, that was pretty, but wouldn't finish for Rodney Brown, and Helm is on the move. No look pass. Nice defense inside to thwart Chapman of the shot, but Daniels is there to finish it.
And that's where we talk about a total package. You saw him get the offensive position, the tap in. He plays baseline to baseline.
Daniels short on the 3, and Brown rebounds. 2.5 to go in the third. It's been all Union. Even though Sapulpa scored the first basket of the game, Union ran off 10 straight. Then later in the first quarter had a run of 11 in a row and led 28-11 at the end of the first period. Lead of 17 that was increased only to 21 at halftime. Sapulpa playing much better in the second quarter. And here in the third quarter, they got off to a good start of 6 straight points.
Well, they closed it to 20.
Yeah, closed it to 15.
Or 15, that's right.
And now they're down by 22. Will it be 25? Too strong by Clint Stewart. Rebound, Jared Cable. Cable gives it up inside Helm. And rebound, Laughlin. Levi playing hard for Sapulpa. Thone across to Laughlin. And Tucker. Minute 20 to go, third period. Again, a win. The next Sapulpa win this season would push them at 7, which would match last year's victory total. Nice give and go. Tucker, though, got it swatted by Stewart. Here comes Chapman. He's electric. And Alan Daniels turns it on here at Sapulpa.
He is the total package.
56 for Union on the night, and Daniels has 21. 23. Nice run now of 8 straight points by the Redskins. And Daniels has matched his season average. He had 25 in the previous meeting. 23 tonight. And Rodney Brown is lighting up. He's having a big game. He's got 13 tonight. Guy on that Sapulpa bench is an assistant to Mark Tucker is Chad Knowles. He holds the Sapulpa scoring record. 40, I think it was 44 points, 45 points in a game, which I believe is still the school record. Final seconds of the third quarter for Alan Daniels, getting the pick from Helm. Triple teamed. And that takes care of the third period. I don't think Allen was quite aware of where the clock stood. It stands at 0. We head to the fourth quarter. It is Union showing you why they are number 2 in the state, leading 58-34 on the Port of Tulsa Game of the Week.
You're watching Cox Communications Channel 3, Oklahoma City, Channel 9, Tulsa. Local, like no one else.
This Union team faced McAllister earlier. They beat McAllister quite handily for third place, but they lost to Ardmore, a 5A team. They have lost to Booker T. Washington in the Tournament of Champions after they led them 15-2 going into the second quarter. Those are the only 2 Union losses this season.
You know, they were only outscored by 3 points. Sapulpa was in the third period. So the third period, they've only been outscored by 7 points. So
it's not bad.
Take away that first period, and we had a pretty good ball game.
And I think that was Mark Tucker's hope, because that's what happened in the previous game between the two. Here's a foul out front on Brown.
And that's good coaching on the part of Rudy Garcia to jump out there with your team and try to establish control real early.
Don't give him any ideas of grandeur, huh?
That's right.
Great pass from Daniels. Boy, he showed not only can he shoot and handle the basketball, play defense, he can throw the ball inside. Great pass into Jared Cable.
That was just a lightning quick pass in there, and Cable popped open, and there's the ball right there waiting on him.
This Union team has knocked off Broken Arrow, who very well could be challenging for a state championship. You'd certainly think so this time of year. In the eastern side of the state, I agree with Mike Wolf. 3 best teams I've seen in 6A from the east. As the basket by Thone, Bronson hits his first points of the game. Have to be Memorial, BA, and Union. Not necessarily in any particular order. But this Union team has knocked off BA twice. Once by 3 early in the year, and then by 3 in triple overtime. They've knocked off a state-ranked Jinx team. They've beaten a state-ranked Bartlesville team by 15 and by 4 in double overtime. They've knocked off a Stillwater team twice, who's state-ranked, or once by 15. They'll play them Friday.
That's a great drive in there by David Sammons, the junior point guard, number 10. He really took it in traffic and had a nice finger roll under control.
And he completes the 3-point play for his first points of the game. Nice job by the 5'10 junior, averaging 4.5. $60-40. Thone, not that time. Follow wouldn't go for Rodney Brown. And the pass not controlled by Daniels. Well, I mentioned earlier a note on Rudy Garcia that when Mark Tucker was the head coach at Union, I thought Rudy was the baseball coach there. And I remember when that announcement was made, Union had been through so many coaching changes. I mean, you go back to Bob Cleveland, who was a good coach and took him to some great marks in a state tournament. Before that, of course, you go to Joe Holliday, and there were others. One guy that took the job didn't even coach a game one time at Union. He took the job coming up from Texas and then took another job before the school. Remember that? Took the job the first of the summer. And before school started, he took another job in Texas. Coach Brooks, Clayton Brooks, I believe it was. So Union had gone through some coaches, and I think Mark was there maybe 6 years the head coach. But when they named Rudy as the head coach, I kind of thought, boy, that's kind of curious. I don't know what's going on there, but Rudy Garcia in his 6th year has won 144 games. So that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
He has done a magnificent job. The last 2 years, a total of 40-7.
You know, when they were going through a lot of coaching changes, they were increasing enrollment every year, going through all that growth pattern, and hard to get some stability sometimes when schools do that.
Tucker rips the nets. He has got 19 tonight. That's his first 3 of the night. Daniels all alone. Could have had the slam, but he bobbled. And Allen now with 25.
He was thinking of monster slam, wasn't he?
He was going for it. Tucker and Daniels hook up a little bit, and Ray Alford has to call a timeout. Get them calmed down a bit. And I think Tucker might have lost his breath. To make sure he's okay. Stephen Farnsworth, number 25, in the game for Union. They're going to make Kyle Tucker, take a seat. So I think he lost his breath. And Sapulpa's Mark Tucker will call a timeout. And while we wait on the timeout, Union, by the way, 1 of 13 from 3 tonight. Let's take a look at the 5A girls Eastern Regionals. Guthrie against Claremore. Claremore will host that regional and yet play the first game at 6:30, and then Durant will take on Doug Winters and the Spartanettes of Bixby. Claremore girls are defending state runners-up. This should be an interesting regional here. This one could go to pretty much any of those teams. Catoosa is playing pretty well under Linda Garrett, but Washington has had their moments. Central has been scrappy this year, and Coweta has a few wins under their belt. And then Bishop Kelly will host their regional, and there's Jana Hardgrave. They'll play Shawnee, and then McAllister and Ada. What a war that will be. Those two schools get together. It's usually fireworks.
That is true. They've had that long-standing rivalry for so many years.
Statewide coverage on Cox Communications all the way to the state championship games March 9th at Gallagher-Iba Arena. 5A and 6A boys and girls state championships. One of my favorite days of the year. It is certainly March Madness when the high school gold balls are up for grabs.
There you saw once again how unselfish Alan Daniels is. He gets the ball down there. He makes a nice little bounce pass to Bryce Flynn for a basket.
Flynn with his second basket. Under 4 minutes to go in the fourth. Tucker muscles his way in and goes to the line. Checking in for Sapulpa for the first time tonight will be number 12, 5'10" sophomore Colt Vandelay.
Here you get to see the penetration of Mark Tucker. Really gets sideways, draws the foul from behind, but Mark's got a lot of great moves and is able to shoot that slider. A lot of guys can't shoot the slider.
Now, what do you mean by the slider?
Well,
I know
when he turns sideways and just avoids defense, being able to kind of slide in between them and yet maintain possession of the ball and maintain control of the ball.
And sometimes, as he's 9-9 from the field, when you go in sometimes, knowing you're going to get hacked, you can throw the slider off the glass, spin it off the glass, and it'll go in if you don't have a great angle. He's good. He can do that as well. Fourth foul on Kyle.
You know, you always worry about at the end of a game, a little frustration maybe between Kyle Tucker and Alan Daniels, and just you don't want anything to happen that would discredit the game at all or discredit either school. And they've got everything under control. Good preventative officiating.
Sam Dash at the line, a 6'5" senior, is playing now in his 13th game and gets on the board. Averaging a point a game, and he gets it. Nice job, Sam. 65-45, 3.5 to go. And again, this is a Union team that led by 17 after one, and the Chieftains have held their own ever since. Clint Stewart in the game. He's had a big game. He and Alan Daniels leading the way. Farnsworth shot no good. Daniels gets it back. 12-footer off the glass, too hard. Rebound Laughlin. Brown on the runaway. Daniels chasing.
And that wakes the crowd up. A great slam in there by Rodney Brown.
Brown tonight with 15 points for the Chieftains. Brown this season had a career high season high 19 against Bartlesville. He's closing in on that. We're closing in on 2.5 minutes remaining in this game from Sapulpa. Nice pass. Now, how did he know? How did number 22 know, Sam Dash, that player was down low, Jared Cable?
He heard him. You play a lot by sound. He knew he was there because he was offside. He knew he was coming to rebound.
Daniels, nice pass. And the lay-in by Cable. He's got 12, averaging 5 a game. Jared Cable, who again was really a starter at the beginning of the year, but had some injuries, an ankle injury that prevented him really getting a lot of playing time this year. But he's a guy off the bench that's been very valuable. And JB, you've got to have guys like that, unselfish players and off the bench team players, if you want to win a state championship.
You really do. And Rudy Garcia at Union, he has some good bench strength, and they come in and they're productive, not only offensively, but they come in with a tremendous amount of energy. They get things going, and that's what it takes to make a good basketball team.
He's also got a sophomore that's just coming in that enters your picture, number 11, Mike Bontrager. And that name might sound familiar. His dad, a longtime coach in the Tulsa, former ORU basketball player, commentator with Dave Garrett on the ORU basketball games. And Bontrager, Mike, has only played in 5 games, but getting his shots, averaging 2.5 a game. And he's 2 of 2 from three-point land, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. So that tells you something about his makeup, as does Kyle Tucker. Yet another free throw. He has been perfecto from the line tonight. 12 of 12. There's a foul and the basket. Bontrager goes to the line.
Nice article in the paper recently about Mike Bontrager's older brother that
Drew.
Yeah, Drew quit playing basketball and started refereeing, and I understand he's worked some JUCO games. Of course, he doesn't work in the high school games, but he can work junior varsity in the rec leagues and those sort of things. And every report I've heard is he is a natural.
3-point play by Bontrager. He will be heard from in years to come for Union. This is a team that looks poised and ready to start the run for the state championship next week. Going to the line will be Sam Dash for a 1-and-1. I think that might have been, nope, that's just the 5th team foul on Sapulpa. JB, when you look at this Union team and you look at Daniels and Stewart, primary scorers, do you have somewhere down the road, if somebody should shut those two down, you really need somebody else to step up? Does this team have the components for somebody to step up?
Oh, I think they do, Don, and I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to stop those two players, but they are so unselfish that they will give it to other players. And here you see the nice penetration in there by Jake Spavital. getting the ball up, getting foul, and going to the line. But yes, I think his bench strength. Tarville comes in and plays very well. Kirk Helm plays very well. Chapman plays very well. Will Banks has done well for them. I mean, they've got some kids that can step in there if someone were to put the hammer on Stewart and Daniels.
Jake Spavital, we'll be seeing him on the football field next year. He will be probably the heir apparent to Jordan Renz. Bontrager misses his first three-pointer of the year. Rodney Brown trying to get through traffic. He'll be fouled by Matt Medeiros, 5'10" senior, number 24. It's got to be fun for Medeiros, although he's a senior, doesn't get a lot of the playing time he would probably like. Boy, you know he's got to be thrilled if they make that state tournament.
Well, you know, so many basketball teams, the heart and soul of it are the seniors that just maybe don't have the ability or the height or the size, but yet stay in there and make great practice players, great team players, great role players. They become the heart and soul of the team.
Rodney Brown with 16 points tonight. We're in Sapulpa at the new field house. It has not been a good night. The Lady Chieftains, number 2 in the state, were upset by Union in the girls game, and Union showing you why they are number 2 as well on the boys side compared to Sapulpa's number 2 on the girls side. Union came out and jumped on Sapulpa early, led at one time 23-6. That 17-point advantage lasted through the first quarter. They led at halftime by 21, led after the third by 24, as you see now by 22. Let's go back over to Mike Wolf.
Yeah, Don, I was going to say we saw some pings perform at halftime. There were some few pings in the Union Redskins high-octane offense there in the third quarter, but they're right at their average of 73. They've only scored 28 in the second half, but I guess when you're as good as they are, you can put it on cruise control. And what we want you to do on Sunday nights is surf over to Channel 6. Sunday night sports coverage is a whole new ball game with the Oklahoma Sports Blitz on KOTV. John Holcomb and myself team up with Dean Blevins and News 9 to bring you more scores, more interviews, more inside info on Oklahoma sports. It's the Blitz, Sunday nights at 10:20 on KOTV Channel 6, Oklahoma's sports leader.
Thank you, Mike. You do a good job on that program with some of the national sports highlights and local interviews. Mark Tucker instructing the Rodney. You never quit teaching, especially a young team.
You never quit teaching, you never quit coaching, and you never quit instructing.
Laughlin couldn't get the free throw. Oh, gosh, what do we got? Foul called, I guess. 44.4 seconds, and maybe a lane violation, and so we'll do it again. Over the back, apparently.
Well, it was a great rebound by Sam Dash anyway.
It was. 1970, the city of Sapulpa had 15,000 residents. They're up to 19,000 now. So this is a community that continues to grow. Almost 30% of the population from Creek County comes from Sapulpa. Just 7.5 miles. A little more than that. Probably actually about 10, 15 miles from Tulsa. Off the Turner Turnpike. Brown skies, smashes it off the glass, but give Union the basket.
Well, that's a great assist in there. Mike Bontrager really just got the ball, and I don't know how he saw him coming across, but he gave it to Brandon Biggs right on the letters, and of course they get the goaltending, but great pass in there by Bontrager.
Of course, Sapulpa with the Route 66 blowout each year. 3 basic elements bringing the city of Sapulpa. And the growth from 1904 to 1910, that would be the Indians, the railroad, and oil. And to the line for Sapulpa will be Vandelay, the sophomore guard. Colt Vandelay, who has not scored a point yet this year. He could do it on television. Statewide, Colt, don't be nervous. Swisheroo right there. Perfect. His first 2 varsity points. And Sapulpa fighting to the end, as is Union, to try to get the loose ball last touched by Bontrager, and so Sapulpa will have it for the final 13 seconds. They have hustled their way to a 20-point loss. You say that after they were down by 17 at the end of the first quarter, and Tucker rings the bell for 3 to close out the scoring in this game. That won't count. But an interesting game nevertheless. Final score 75-58. And we're coming back and wrap this one up in a moment from Sapulpa.
Oklahoma City, Channel.
It is Union leading by 17 after 1, and they close out with a 17-point win, 75-58 on the Ford of Tulsa Game of the Week. Don King along with J.B. Haney. Coach, your thoughts?
Well, I think that's the thing that Coach Tucker has to come back and talk to his kids about. They beat us 17 points the first quarter, and that's what they beat us at the end. So we played them even on 3 quarters. That gives you a positive note to go back into the practice gym and start working for the regional.
Let's take a look at the final numbers. Both teams shot fairly well.
That is really good shooting for a high school team, 49-47%. 3-point shooting, 8 out of 26. That's not bad. 3 out of 5 for Sapulpa. Free throws, good shooting there. Rebounding goes to the Union Redskins. But the turnovers, that's the big thing. There are 7 turnovers, and that, I think, if you were to go back and grade the tape, that would be the difference.
So the Redskins go to 19-2, and there's the leading scorers. Alan Daniels, the league's leading scorer at 23 a game, gets 25. Clint Stewart was 16. Jared Cable off the bench with a dozen. And for Sapulpa, Tucker's 28. Rodney Brown 17, and Levi Laughlin with 4 points, but 9 rebounds for the sophomore. So the Chieftains fall to 6-16 on the year. Union goes to 19-2, and you can see why they are number 2 in the state, but 15-0 in this competitive Frontier Conference that has 5 teams ranked in the top 10. They go to Stillwater Friday with a chance to go undefeated in the league.
And what a feat that would be for the Redskins if they could go through that tough conference undefeated. Nothing could be a better springboard for the state tournament than that.
All right, JB, we'll see you in the playoffs.
It's been fun, Don.
It has been for the regular season. And again, Friday, don't forget, Cox Communications gives you prep basketball with Midwest City and Norman on Friday night to close out our regular season. And then we'll have the playoffs starting next week all the way to the state championships March 9th, Saturday at Gallagher-Iba Arena, when we have the 5A and 6A girls and boys state championships. Final score for the final time, Union 75-58 over Union. Thanks to the Ping Pings, and thanks to you for making this an enjoyable evening. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And Susan Lehman, our coordinating producer, along with producer Randy Carson. And for J.B. Haney, Mike Wolf, Don King, good night from Creek County.